Hello and welcome back to Gravity to PDF. In this tutorial, this is going to be a remake of a previous tutorial that I've done for the PDF field types. And the reason I'm remaking this is we've actually changed the plugin a little bit and we've added support for some different field type options. So we're gonna go through this process and show you how you can create a PDF document, and then using that PDF document as your sort of guide, we'll create a Gravity form that will collect the entries, and then we will put the entries from your Gravity form onto a completed PDF document, and then we're going to deliver it via email. Now, there are all sorts of reasons you may want to do this. You know, maybe you want to build an employee portal and collect employee documentation and have them fill things out, or maybe you have customers that come to your website that they have to sign agreements, or maybe you have a rental application, or maybe you have a photography service agreement. You know, almost unlimited uses for something like this. And so the prerequisites for this are you have to have WordPress and you have to have Gravity forms to build your form, and then you have to have a Gravity to PDF plugin to be able to populate your PDF document. So with that, let's get started. I like to start my PDFs in either Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. And what I do is I build the document and I use underlines to define the areas for the fields. So the very first step in this is, once I have my Word document created, is to save this as a PDF. And so what we do here is we save the document as a PDF, and Adobe will convert the Word document into a PDF. And then once we have a PDF document, let me zoom out here so we can see it better. This is just a PDF. Now, it doesn't have any fields yet. Like, we can't enter values on here. We need to convert this into a form. So to convert this document into a form, what we need to do is prepare the form. So from the menu, you hit prepare form, and then it'll ask us, do you want to start with a new document, or do you want to use the open document we had in Acrobat? So we're going to start with the document we had. And Adobe is pretty good at identifying the fields, but not perfect. Okay, so we started to identify some of these fields, and this is a paragraph box. So what we want to do is we're going to open this up, and we're going to actually make it a paragraph field text. We're going to right click it, and we're going to go to properties. We're going to go to options, and we're going to convert that into a multi-line paragraph field. Okay, so that field has been corrected, and then we have an address. Now, our address field is sort of unique. The best way to do address fields is to break the address into its parts. And the same thing's true for like names, you know, first name, last name. By breaking the address into its parts and then, you know, naming it street and then city and then state and lastly zip code, it's a little easier to collect the data and then you put the entries from the Gravity form onto this PDF. Now, there is a way where we could, you know, potentially, you know, put all of the address into one field. It's a little more complicated, so for now in this sample we're just going to show you how to grab the street, city, state, and zip code and put them onto this form. Now, our Adobe did not identify these checkboxes, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to add some new checkboxes. We're just going to, you know, scale that down a little bit, and let's zoom in here. And I'm just going to make that sort of cover my little marker. And I'll zoom in just a little more. And okay, so I have checkbox 1, and I'm going to rename this so it matches the name on our page. Okay, and we're going to name that option 1. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to paste it. So now I have another checkbox. Let's not resize it. We're just going to move it where we want it, and we have option 1 again, and Acrobat automatically enumerates these when we have fields that have the same name. Now, it's important that we have a unique name for each of these fields so that later when we're telling Gravity to PDF, hey, when this Gravity checkbox is checked, checkbox check the PDF document as well. So we have to have a unique name for this. So let's rename this as 2, option 2, and you'll see option 1 automatically renames 2. So I'm just going to paste this one more time so we have the third one, and then we'll rename this also as option 3. Okay, and what we're going to do, actually this has got an extra space in it, looks like, so let's get rid of that. And let's select all 3 of these, and we're going to right click and we're going to align to the left so that they're in a nice row. Okay, and then moving down our form, we have radio groups, and I'm going to show you the proper way to do a radio group. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a radio button, we're going to put it there, and we're going to resize this a little. We'll just make it smaller to match our option there. And this is choice 1, so I'm going to rename this option 1 because it says option 1 on our form. So option 1, and I'm going to rename the group as group 1. Okay, and I'm going to copy this again, and I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to move it over to option 2, and I'm going to paste it, move it over to option 3. So this one we need to name as option 2, and this one we need to rename as option 3. Okay, and again I'm going to select all 3 and right click. I'm going to align them to the left, and then I'm also going to go like this. I'm going to distribute them vertically, and that'll space them out evenly. So what I can do here for this group is I can actually select all 3 of these like this, right click and copy, and then I'll move over here a little, and I'm going to right click and paste. And what I can do is select those and move them over here. So these, we have another set of radio options, but they're all in this group. So what we need is a new group. So if we right click this and go to properties, we can call that group 2. And you'll see now we have one option in group 2, but we need to take this option. These 2 options need to be in group 2 also, so we can actually just drag that down. No, maybe we can't drag it down. Sorry about that. I guess we can just go to properties and put it in group 2. And the same with this last one here. Okay, so let me rename this also to option 2 and rename that to option 3. Okay, so our radio buttons are done. Let's move back out. Now we got an email address that it identified correctly. We have a quiz score that it identified correctly. And then that's it. The one thing we did not include is a drop-down box, but I'll show you how we can use a drop-down on the state. So we should be good there. Okay, so we have our form, and now we're going to save our form. I'm just going to save it on the desktop, and that's our field types new is what we're calling this. Okay, so there's one field type that we support that we didn't add a field for, and that's going to be the signature field. And the way signature fields work is Gravity Forms collects the signature, and we automatically create an extra page on the last page of the PDF that has the signature and the important details of the signature. So it collects the user's IP address, the form name that they signed, and the date and time stamp of the signature. So to collect all that, we actually create a separate page specifically for the signature. So you don't actually have to put a signature field in your form when you need to collect a signature, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so now that we're done with our form, I'm going to just move our form down, and we're going to come over to our sample site, and this is just our test website that we have set up, and log in, and we're going to actually create a new gravity form for this. So we're just going to call this field types. We're going to create a new form. And what I like to do when I'm creating forms is I like to look at my PDF document, and I like to create each field for the gravity form. So I've got a text box. I want to create a text box, and I'm just going to label this text box. And then the next one is a paragraph box, so I want to do a paragraph box. Okay, moving on down, we need a date field, so let's grab a date field. And the date fields are automatically labeled, so we don't need a label there. And next we need a phone number. And now if we take an advanced field and we do a phone number, Gravity Forms will automatically, check and validate that it is a phone number. So, or a phone number format anyway. Okay, so next we want to collect a street, city, state, and zip code. So the easiest way to collect that is going to be use a single line of text for the street name and the city name. So we'll create the street and the city. And somehow our phone number got out of order, so let's put that back where it goes. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a drop down for the state. And what we're going to do is we're going to bulk add and predefine, and we're going to take the US states and insert choices, and we'll call this state. And then lastly we need a zip code, so let's just take one more single line of text and we'll call this zip code. Okay, now moving on to a checkbox, we need 3 checkbox options. So take a checkbox group, and we're going to call this checkboxes. And I'm going to name these just like we named them on our form, which is option 1, option 2, option 3. Okay, and then moving down we have 2 radio groups, so we're going to do radio group 1. We're going to take a radio group, so radio buttons, call this radio group 1. We'll call this option 1, option 2, option 3, and what we can do is we'll just duplicate this, and we're going to call this radio group 2, and it'll have the same option 1, option 2, option 3. So now we have radio group 1 and radio group 2. Next we need to do a email address. Okay, so we're going to take an advanced field and an email address. and we need a quiz score. So the way a quiz score works is if you have the quiz add-on for gravity forms, what we can do is we can actually put the quiz score on the PDF. Now you may want to do that if you're creating a quiz. You may want a certificate that you're going to put with the user's name and their quiz score. And so what ends up happening is their score gets put on to the actual PDF. So basically the way it works is you create a small quiz by adding a couple quiz questions, and it doesn't really matter what we have here, and we'll make this the right answer. First choice will be the right answer on both of them, and I'll show you how that works. So we have these two fields, okay, and then the last one is the signature field, which we don't make a actual field on our form for, but we do want to collect a signature. So I'll show you how this works. So we're done with our form, and we're going to update and save our form. And the next step is we need to create a merge for this. So we're going to create a new merge. We're going to call this field types. And we'll just call this new because I have an old one. And this checkbox allows us to append a timestamp to the file name, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to upload our PDF document into the plugin. So we're looking for field types new. Where is field types new? Okay, and when we upload this, the plugin will read the PDF, and it'll list the PDF fields that we created in the plugin. And now what we want to do is use the field types gravity form we just created. So you select your form from this field, and the next step is to tell the plugin, I want this gravity form field to put its value onto this PDF field. So the text box is already matched to the text box, so what we have to do is then say we want paragraph to paragraph, and we want date to date, and we want phone to phone, and we want street to street. Where is our street number? Street. And we want city to city. State to state, and we're getting into zip code here, and then we're getting into the other types of fields here. So I'll show you here. We have our checkboxes. So checkbox option 1, and then we have this is the checkboxes. Option 1, yes. Option 2, yes. Option 3. So just have to map every single option for our checkbox and radio buttons. So come down and get them all. So that's option 2, yes. And then we gotta find each one here. And option 3, and option 3. Now the good news is you only have to do this once, and then your users can come through here and fill out your forms or your documentation, and then deliver you your documentation anywhere you want. So the reason we designed the plugin is we had a need to do some repetitive documentation for medical facilities, and we wanted to automate all that patient information, and we delivered it through secure HIPAA security protocols, and we collected all this information behind an SSL certificate, and we delivered it. So instead of the office staff having to manually type in these forms, what we did is we sent the patient to the website to fill it in themselves, and we received a completed PDF that we could then upload into an EMR. So that's just a sample of the type of thing that you could potentially do with this. You could do the same thing with a tax document, or if you're an accountant, or law documents if you're a lawyer. Pretty much any sort of document that you could ever want to automate, either your employees or staff in a private area, or your customers in a private area on your WordPress site, or potential customers or visitors on a public area on your site. And you obviously have the option to put this behind a password in a secure area or public facing. Okay, so we're continuing on here. We got radio group 2, option 3 to go. So just scrolling down here a little bit. Okay, radio group 2, option 3. Radio group 2, option 3. And let's see what else we have on here. We have email address. I think we need to add our email address. And that should be it. Okay, where's our email? And email. Now, I'm going to add one more and show you here. Some of these columns, or some of these fields, the plugin reads all the fields. So if we look, we can potentially map the questions from the quiz field. There may be some fields here that you don't necessarily use. Like these are the quiz fields, right? So they work the same as a radio button, but these values are created automatically by Gravity Forms, so we don't really have any control over that. So you may see some fields like that for quiz fields, survey fields, the signature, and just sort of ignore those. Or maybe if you're using a break or HTML box, those fields are listed from Gravity Forms, but they're not going to get mapped to a value. So just ignore those sort of fields. There's not really a way to filter that out. So they just will be there always. So just to know that maybe not every field that's listed is going to get mapped to a value, and that's okay. So I'm going to remove that field because we don't need it. And we're going to use the plugin that automatically detects the signature field. And if we want to use a signature field, then that's how we can use a signature. Okay, so then our quiz field, this is our score, and we're going to map that to our quiz score. Okay, so we're done with all of our mapping, and the last thing to do here is add a delivery type. Now, if you have additional integrations, you can have additional delivery types, such as Google Drive and all sorts of things. But for now, we're just gonna do an email, and because there's an email value on our Gravity form, there's an email address listed here. So I'm gonna say this is our PDF form. So it's just the subject, and is attached is your PDF form. Okay, so this email goes to this email address that will be supplied on the form. Okay, so I'm going to add another email address because I also want to send this to my marketing department. So I'm going to say marketing@pdf.com, and user submitted form, and then attached is the user's submitted PDF document. And then lastly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a confirmation page download, and what that does is builds us a short code, and we're going to copy the short code, and we're going to go back to our form and put that on the confirmation page so that we have a direct link for the user that submits this to download. Okay, so we have two more options. We can flatten the PDF, yes or no. No, will allow the PDF to still be edited with the form fields. And yes, we'll flatten it so that those fields can no longer be edited. And then lastly, we have PDF password. So no password would mean there's no password to open or view or edit the PDF. And yes, we can define a password. We could say, gravity to PDF or whatever we want. And then that would be the password to open the PDF. Now, however, when you add a password, it also restricts printing and other access to the PDF. So you may only want to add a password if you're sending secured private information that may be really sensitive. Okay, so we're done with this, and we're just going to save our integration. So our merge is done. We have one more step to complete the process, and that is we want to add our form on a WordPress page. So we're going to do this by adding a new page, and we're going to call this field types new. And we're going to add our form, which is our field types form. We're going to insert our form on the page, and we're going to publish it. Now, I said we wanted to add this download link to our entries. So we're going to go back to our gravity form before we look at that, and we're going to go field types, and we're going to go to setting and confirmations, and we're going to edit our confirmation page. We're just going to say thank you for filling out our form. Download your form here. And then we'll put in our short code for our download, and we'll hit save. You could do all sorts of fancy stuff, add a picture here to this page or whatever you want to do. And we should be good to go. So let's go back to our page real quick, and we're going to look at our field type new. So let's view this in a new tab. And I'm just going here. We haven't done this at all. So we have our field types, and this is our form. And so this is what we're going to try and do. So let's test this out, and we'll just put, something in here. Bob Smith, not Smith, and Bob Smith's text area box. And this could be anything we want, and we'll just pick a date, and then we'll do a phone number. We'll just do these sort of at random. Street, my wonderful street, and city name, and we'll pick a state here. Let's just pick a state at random. We'll pick South Dakota, and the zip code is 88771. I have no idea if that's in South Dakota or not, but it doesn't matter. And then check boxes. Let's pick some options. We'll just pick option 1 and option 2. We'll pick radio group 2. Actually, let's do this. We'll take option 1, radio group 2, radio group 3. We're just going to put in our email address. And remember, we made the first choice is the right answer for both of these. So we'll take the first choice and the second choice, and we should get a quiz score on our quiz field. And then we're going to do a signature. So this is Bob Smith. And that's it. So that's our form. Now, if we wanted to make that a contract or an agreement or, anything we want, we can. The point of this tutorial is to show you how each field type works and how you would create a sample of that field type on your PDF document. Okay, so our PDF link is here, and let's open up our form and see what it looks like. So we have Bob Smith's text. Oh, I didn't spell area right. We got all of our options. So option 1, and then we got our score of 50%. Now I don't remember if we picked what options we did here. We either made a mistake in our mapping, or I picked option 2 on each one. And then here's the signer page, and the signer page takes the entry ID the date and time it was submitted, the IP address from the person that signed it, and the form URL, so where they filled out the form. So, and then we have their signature. So that is how we would create any sort of complicated, complex document using Gravity Forms and Gravity to PDF, start to finish, from a Word document, creating a PDF document, creating the Gravity form, and then mapping the PDF fields to the PDF form. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and remember, you can do nearly unlimited documentation and unlimited workflows with Gravity to PDF.